Hey guys, so today it is time for my quarter 3 makeup spending summary. This is where I share with you all of the makeup products that I purchased over the last 3 months, how much I spent in comparison to how much I used up in makeup, and also just let you know whether or not I feel like I'm staying on top of the goals that I'd set for my makeup spending at the start of the year. So I'll leave my 2022 low buy and spending goals intro video if you want to look back and see what I had said at the beginning of the year. But essentially at the start of the year I had chosen some categories that I didn't want to buy any new products in. I had kind of a product specific no buy going on for just the first 6 months of the year. And then once those 6 months were up, I decided I don't really feel like I need to have any more set categories where I'm not buying anything. I just decided to kind of loosen up my rules, and at this point in my consumption, I don't really feel like I need a whole lot of rules and parameters to my spending. I think I'm a pretty healthy spender these days, so I don't really need to have a ton of strict rules, but I do still like to keep track of what I've purchased, how much I've spent, and just reflect on that and see if I am being as intentional as I can be with my spending as a YouTuber and also just as a makeup lover. I try not to overconsume as best I can. So I'm really excited to share everything that I purchased this quarter. But first I do want to thank today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. If you haven't heard of Skillshare before, it's an online learning community that offers thousands of classes in all kinds of subjects from graphic design to illustration, business and marketing, creative writing, just about any subject that you are interested in learning more about, whether it is to enhance your resume for future job opportunities, or maybe you just want to develop a new skill, a new hobby. I think learning is so important. It's something that we should make an effort to continue doing all throughout our lives. It shouldn't stop when we graduate from high school or college. Most recently, a topic I've been wanting to learn more about and just kind of brush up on my skills is personal finance and budgeting. It's one of those topics that, at least in American schools, we aren't taught how to budget our money or invest or anything like that. It's just kind of left up to you to figure out. But I found a course on Skillshare, and specifically a teacher on Skillshare that I'm really looking forward to continuing to take more classes from because I really like his style. This class I took yesterday is called Learn How to Budget, Personal Budgeting Made Easy in 16 Minutes, and it's taught by Sun Han from Brainy Money. He's a CPA, he really knows his stuff, and this class, it's a 20-minute long class, 7 really short lessons, but the class also comes with a spreadsheet template that you can use to create your own personal budget. And I left this class, a 20-minute class, I would say probably 30-35 minutes total that I spent watching the videos and then filling out the spreadsheet. I seriously came away from this class feeling so much better because it's something I've been putting off for a long time, and this guy made it so easy and so simple, and I was like, why have I been stressing about this? This is literally not even that hard. So if you're like me and you feel like you've been kind of putting off getting your budget sorted out, I highly recommend this class. So if you're interested in checking out Skillshare for yourself, maybe taking this budgeting class or any of the other classes that they offer, the first 1,000 of you who use my link down below will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. In that 1-month free trial, you can take as many classes as you want, so it's a great way to try it out. So definitely check out the link below if you're interested in checking out Skillshare for yourself. And thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video and supporting me and my channel. And let's go ahead and hop into my quarter 3 spending summary. I spent more money this quarter than I have in either of the previous quarters in 2022. I will go ahead and say that. This was my biggest spending quarter so far. I'm hoping to keep it that way and hoping that quarter 4 I can slow it down a little bit. This is the time of year, really the second half of the year, where it gets tricky to resist all the different sales, all the holiday sets, and there's almost just a lot of pressure, not only from brands, but just the beauty community in general becomes very shopping focused this time of year. So it's hard to resist. And there were a couple of sales in quarter 3 that really got me. So we'll talk about those, but let me go ahead and share the total amount that I spent in quarter 3 on makeup. Now this is just makeup, and it's just makeup that I purchased. I don't include PR here. It doesn't include skincare. I really don't buy much skincare. I'm kind of a replacement only person with skincare. Same goes for body care and hair care. Makeup, on the other hand, that is where I do enjoy collecting a little bit. In quarter 3, I spent a total of $248 on makeup, which Compared to quarter one and quarter two, that is quite a bit more. But it's also worth keeping in mind the first half of the year, I really was just trying to keep my spending on everything, makeup included, to a minimum because we were planning a cross-country move and it didn't make a whole lot of sense for me to be buying a ton of makeup at that time. But now that we're settled in and we don't have that kind of looming over us, I have just been a little bit more spendy, really more spendy than I would like. So even though I did spend more in quarter three than I did in the previous quarters, I'm not necessarily upset about it because in this quarter alone, I have discovered so many new makeup favorites, so many products that I think are going to be like long time favorites, staples in my beauty routine. So I'm not really too upset about it. I think all the purchases I made ended up being pretty good purchases. We'll get into each individual item in just a second, but I really didn't end up regretting most of these purchases. There were a couple of small regrets, but we'll get into each individual item in just a second. First, I also want to share my empties total. At the start of the year, I had said that I wanted to keep my makeup spending total around the same amount as my makeup empties total. So I calculated the value of each makeup product that I used up. In quarter three, I used up a total of $89 worth of makeup, which seems to be pretty standard for me. Comparing that to quarter two, in quarter two, I used up $100 worth. And in quarter one, I used up $82 worth. So it seems like between $70 and $100 is about how much my quarterly empties are typically worth. And for those numbers, I'm not calculating how much I spent on each item because in some cases I don't remember, and some of these items were received in PR or received as gifts, so I'm just calculating them at the standard retail value, whereas my spending total I am calculating how much I actually spent, including things like coupons and sales. So because of that, I kind of had this realization like halfway through the year. I don't really care so much if my spending total exceeds my empties total or vice versa because it's kind of an arbitrary metric anyway. I'm still sharing these metrics just because I find them interesting, but I'm not necessarily trying to stick to that goal anymore. I just don't think it's the most helpful metric to look at when we're looking at, my overall makeup consumption. But for the whole year up until this point, I've used up a total of $270 worth of makeup, and I have spent a total of $430 on makeup. So I definitely have spent more than the value of what I've used up, but just take that information for what you will. Let's go ahead and get into what I bought this quarter. I had a total of 6 different orders and purchases. My first purchase of this new quarter, of quarter three, was from Sephora. I purchased 2 foundations. One was a replacement of the e.l.f. Super Serum Skin Tint, which I think I just used my old one for the last time. I think this is officially empty now. I even took the stopper out. There is nothing left in there. So I'm excited to finally open up the one that I purchased back in August. I don't normally buy backups, but this was a case where I already know I love this foundation. It's reached holy grail status for me, and it was on sale for $10 off at this time that I bought it. So I spent $38 on it. This was when Sephora was having a foundation sale. And in that same order, I also bought the LYS Triple Fix Serum Foundation, which was on sale for $17.50. But unfortunately, the shade that I chose was just not the correct shade at all. It was way too dark for me. I got the shade LP4. The reason I chose that shade is because when I had a sample of it a while back in LN6, LN6 was pretty good, just a little bit too dark, and I figured LP4 being the next shade down in the list, it would probably be just right, but it was way too pink and way too dark. So I ended up passing that on to a neighbor in our Buy Nothing project group, and I didn't return it because I just knew that if I returned it, they would throw it away, and I'd rather let someone else use it. So I didn't get a refund for that, so I am still counting this cost towards the total spent, and the total of that order was $61. My next purchase took place at Fred Meyer, which, by the way, if you live in Seattle, Fred Meyer, or if you live anywhere that has Fred Meyer stores, we have a really big one in Greenwood here, and the makeup section is bomb. I have so much fun in that makeup section every time. It's practically like an Ulta over there. I mean, it's only drugstore brands, obviously, but this particular time that I visited Fred Meyer, they were having buy 2 get 1 free on all makeup. So I took advantage because I knew there were a couple things I was gonna need to pick up soon anyway. I did need to buy a replacement mascara, and a new brow pen. So I ended up getting a mascara that I'd had my eye on for a long time, the Milani highly rated anti-gravity mascara. This is one of my favorite purchases of 2022, like so far. I love this mascara. I can tell this is probably going to be one that I continue to repurchase in the future. This is what I have in my lashes right now. It's pretty much everything I've been looking for in a mascara. It's drugstore. It makes my lashes look incredible, very dramatic, it doesn't smudge. One of my top purchases so far of the year and definitely of this quarter. And then I got a couple of products from NYX, their Lift and Snatch brow pen and their Wonder Stick. And I did review both of these in my most recent speed reviews, so I can link that below if you want more info on these. But I ended up really liking both of these too. So with the buy two get one free, I ended up paying $30 for these 3 products. And that's including tax, by the way. I do include tax and shipping when applicable for all of these purchases. Including tax, I spent $30.30, which means I spent about $10 on each of these products individually. But yeah, I mean, NYX is kind of pricey. Like the Wonder Stick was $15, and the Milani one is the one that I technically got for free because this was like the cheapest of the 3. I think this is $10 typically on its own. My next 2 purchases were both really for a specific video that I was planning. Earlier, like I think in September, I did a video featuring a full face of makeup brands that use ethical mica. So I needed a few products for certain steps of my full face of makeup. And so I placed an order on Ulta to get a few more things from Essence, because Essence was one of those brands that I featured in that video. So these 3 products I also featured in my most recent speed reviews, so definitely check there if you want a more thorough overview of these. But the first product I picked up was the Pretty Natural foundation, which I've actually ended up liking. At first I was not so sure, but so far I'm actually really liking this foundation. So that, because I used a $3.50 off coupon in this order, I paid $5.59 for this foundation, quite a bargain. I also purchased their Bye Bye Panda Eyes mascara, and this was $4 with the coupon. Again, a bargain. I love how affordable Essence is. And then their Brow Designer brow pencil, I paid a whopping $2.39 for this. So that very small Ulta order, including tax and shipping, again, came out to about $21. And this was an example of a time where I actually did pay for shipping rather than add a bunch of more things to my cart, because I knew these were the only 3 things I wanted to get. There wasn't any sort of sale going on at this time or anything, so I didn't want to put a bunch more things in my cart just to reach the free shipping minimum, because then I would have had to spend like probably $30 more or so just to get free shipping. So sometimes I do think it's worth it to pay for shipping. I'd rather pay for shipping than purchase a bunch of products that I don't actually want or need. And then also for that video, I placed an order on the About Face website because I wanted to try one of their new cream blushes. And I only purchased this blush, nothing else on their website. And once again, I did pay for shipping with this About Face order. So I bought their Cheek Freak Blush Balm in the shade Laid. It's always a tongue twister saying all that. This blush retails for $18. I didn't use any sort of coupon or anything. And I did pay for shipping because this was the only thing I wanted. And I ended up spending $29.78, which I know sounds ridiculous. I normally don't do that, but when I have a specific video I'm planning for, keep in mind also, makeup that I buy for videos, it is a tax write-off. So it doesn't mean it's free. I still have to pay for it. It's just that I don't have to pay taxes on that money. So don't use my spending as a model for how you should spend your money if you're not a content creator, because, you know, I also have to keep in mind that these are actual business expenses for me if I'm using them for, you know, a review video and things like that. So if I weren't a YouTuber, I can guarantee you I would have waited for a sale or free shipping or something, but sometimes it is worth it for me to pay for shipping if I have, you know, a specific video that I'm planning for. So my next order was from E.l.f. E.l.f. was having like a 60% off sale for their Beauty Squad members back in September, which, by the way, their Beauty Squad is kind of similar to like the Ulta points system. It's free to join and you can accumulate points and redeem them for free gifts. Sometimes they have Beauty Squad exclusive sales, so I definitely recommend signing up for their Beauty Squad if you do shop on E.l.f.'s website, like ever. You should probably sign up. But during that sale, this was actually the largest purchase I made in terms of just the quantity of products that I bought, because they had so many items on sale for like $2 and under. So I got a few tools actually. I got their Pro eyelash curler for $2. I had just wanted to try an eyelash curler for a long time. I'd recently asked for your suggestions on like what your favorite eyelash curlers were. I got a ton of different suggestions, but quite a few people did recommend the E.l.f. ones. So I figured, you know, for my first eyelash curler, I would just go for a cheap one and just see if I like it. And then you know, if I want to invest in something nicer, I can. But so far, I'm actually really liking this $2 eyelash curler. I think it's normally probably $5, but I got it for $2, which feels like such a bargain. And I really like it. It feels well made. It came with an extra like replacement cushion too. So I'm happy with that so far. I also got a few other tools. I got a couple of brushes. These are both called eyeliner brushes, but this one I'm mainly planning on using for faux freckles. This is their precision eyeliner brush, and that I paid $2.40 for. And then I also got their flat eyeliner brush. I'd been wanting a flat eyeliner brush like this for a while. I didn't have one quite like this. That was also $2. Also really enjoying that. I used that today actually for my kind of smudgy eyeliner. I used eyeshadow as eyeliner today and just kind of winged it out. I'm really liking this brush so far. It's very soft. I like that the bristles are somewhat flexible, so it doesn't feel like I'm stabbing myself in the eye when I use it. Some flat eyeliner brushes are too stiff that they kind of hurt, but this one is nice. Another thing I got on sale that I am loving, this is another one of my favorite discoveries of 2022. This is their No Budge Shadow Stick and Magnetic Pull. I'm wearing this today as well. It really is my eyeshadow base, and then I topped it with a, if you're wondering, I might as well just go ahead and show you. I topped it with the shade Vibes from Urban Decay Stone Vibes, and then I used Third Eye down here as my liner there. Oh, and then I used a couple shades in my Norvina palette. I guess if I'm giving you an overview of my eye look, I'll go ahead and share this too. I also used some of Love as kind of a transition color, and then I used Dreamer in my inner corner. So that's, oh, and I used Volatile on the lower lash line. So I guess kind of a complicated look for today. I dipped into a lot of things, but I've also worn this quite a few times on its own. It's just a super easy one and done shadow. A lot of people have compared this to the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize cream shadow in Oyster Pearl. I haven't tried that one, but I have wanted to try it. But now that I have this, I don't think I will, because I feel like this kind of satisfies that role for me in my collection. And I also just love the ease of just like drawing this onto my lid, blending it out with a brush really quick, and you're done. Like, it is the quickest one and done eyeshadow look. As long as you don't have any kind of tacky moisturizer or sunscreen on your eyelids, this doesn't budge. Like, it doesn't crease, so you don't have to wear an eyelid primer underneath. By the way, I'm planning on doing a best and worst of e.l.f., like everything I've tried from e.l.f. video coming up soon, where I'll share even more details about all these e.l.f. products. I'll try not to go into a huge soliloquy for each one. Oh yeah, and for the No Budge Shadow Stick, the best part is I only paid $2 for this because it was on sale for 60% off, so very happy with that. I think those were all of the products that I got on sale. Not everything on e.l.f.'s website was on sale for 60% off, and so I did just go ahead and put a few things in my cart that I also had been eyeing for a while that weren't on sale, but I just figured while I was shopping on there, might as well grab them. So I ended up getting two of their putty cheek products, their putty bronzer in the shade Feel and Shady, and their luminous putty blush in the shade Maui. I'm wearing both of these today, really loving these. Like I said, I'll have more details on all these e.l.f. products coming up in my best and worst of e.l.f. video, which should be up within the next month. I also got their Brow Lift and Brow Lift applicator, which are sold separately, but I figured if I was going to try the Brow Lift, I might as well get the applicator that's meant to go with it. So the applicator was $4. I don't think it was on sale, and the Brow Lift also wasn't on sale. This was $6. I have thoughts about this product. I don't think it's a favorite, especially because I also recently discovered the NYX Thick It Stick It brow gel, which we'll talk about in just a second, but I think I prefer this product over the e.l.f. Brow Lift. They're obviously very different products. One is tinted, one isn't, but for me, I prefer the format of the Thick It Stick It so far. One product from the e.l.f. order that I actually ended up getting a refund for, but they didn't make me return it, which is nice. So this way I can pass it on to someone and it doesn't have to get thrown away. But this is the e.l.f. Camo Powder Foundation. I chose the entirely wrong shade, as you can see. Way too fair for me. Also, it has a very yellow undertone, so I don't know why they're calling it neutral. The shade range is definitely wonky, and I think they know that because on their site in their like return section, they say like, if you happen to pick a shade that didn't work for you, you can get a refund. So I emailed them, they gave me a refund like within that same day. So very happy with that customer service, and I'm happy that I didn't have to go to the trouble of packing it back up and returning it, because that's just ridiculous to do for makeup, especially when you know like they're just gonna throw it away anyway. Finally, I did get a few gifts with purchase with my e.l.f. order. I got their Putty Primer Trio, which comes with 3 mini primers, the matte putty primer, the luminous putty primer, and the poreless putty primer. Still testing those out. But so far, I think I do like especially the poreless putty primer, but stay tuned for future updates on that. And then I also got their bite-sized quad in cream and sugar as a gift with purchase, which I've only used a couple times, but so far I am enjoying it. So that was my big e.l.f. haul. I also bought a moisturizer for Nathan, but that I'm not including here. So the total for that e.l.f. order was $48, which I think was a pretty good price for all of that makeup. And then my final order of Q3, I know it's a long list this time. I think my last spending update was so much shorter because I'd only bought like a handful of things. My last purchase of Q3 took place during the Ulta Fall Haul sale, which I thought was a great sale. If you saw my recent Ulta cart declutter video, I showed you kind of everything I was like considering buying, and then we like whittled down my cart together on screen. So if you want to see that, I'll leave it linked below. And I think also my try-on haul should already be up by the time you're watching this, so I'll leave that linked below as well, where I showed you like kind of my first impressions of all the products. But just to give you a quick overview of everything that I ended up getting in that sale, they were having buy 3 get 1 free on NYX products. So I got their Sweet Cheeks liquid blush in the shade Nude Tude, their Bear With Me concealer serum in light, and their Thick It Stick It brow gel in Cool Blonde. For the serum, concealer, and brow gel, I paid $11 each on those, and then I got the blush for free since it was buy 2 get 3 free. I also picked up a 2-pack replacement of the EcoTools Bio Blender. This is my favorite sponge. I love the EcoTools sponges. I've already opened and started using one of them. I'm so happy to have it back in my life because I went like a year without this sponge and I really missed it. So that duo 2-pack was $7.69 for 2 sponges, which I thought was a really good deal. And I also got a couple of single shadows, the Flower Beauty Chrome Crush Pressed Pigment in Quartz, and the J-Cat Rockin' the Night Sparkling Powder in Chameleon Effect. Definitely check out my video testing these out to hear some thoughts, but the J-Cat powder, not so much a fan. That I did only spend $1.74 on, but I'm kind of wishing I hadn't gotten it at all. And the Flower Chrome Crush Pressed Pigment, this I spent $9.79 on. By the way, I did want to say in that order, you might have seen that I got that Conair social media makeup mirror. It's like a lighted mirror where you can prop your phone up, and it's supposed to be good for filming TikToks. I'm returning that because when you prop your phone up and record videos, your phone will pick up a buzzing sound from the lights, and it's like pretty much not usable for its intended purpose for filming videos. If you wanted to just use that mirror as a mirror and you weren't planning on filming with it, you'll probably be fine, because I can't actually hear the buzzing like from, you know, a couple feet away, but when my phone is propped up right on it, it picks up this awful buzzing sound. So yeah, a little disappointed in that, and I am returning that and getting my $85 back because that was a huge letdown. I was so excited, especially with all the good reviews it had. But it seemed like all the people who had reviewed it weren't actually using it to film with. So that would probably explain why nobody else was complaining about that issue. And so that Ulta order, just including the makeup, not including like the body care stuff that I got, I spent $57.35. So that is everything that I bought in Q3, which all in total added up to $248. I feel like I got a lot of stuff for $248, honestly. I mean, it does help that I bought most of these things on sale. Most of it is drugstore, and I'm also really happy with most of the things I bought. Most things ended up being things that I actually really enjoyed, and, you know, just a couple things that didn't end up working, like that LYS foundation that was the wrong shade. Ended up wasting a little bit of money on that, but not too bad. Also, another one of my small goals I set at the beginning of the year was in regards to lip products and eyeshadow palettes. I had said that I wanted to purchase no more than 5 lipsticks and 5 eyeshadow palettes total all year, and so far I've done a really good job sticking to that, and that is one thing I do plan to continue in 2023. I think I want to have some sort of like limit or cap on the number of those items I want to buy, because those are 2 categories where in the past I've had trouble not going overboard. Lipsticks and eyeshadow palettes, those are like 2 of my biggest weaknesses with makeup, especially because those are 2 categories that take a really long time to actually use something up. So you might have noticed I didn't purchase any new lip products in Q3 at all, so very happy to say that. I have so far this year, I've only bought 2 lip products, 1 lip gloss and 1 lipstick, and that is it. So I have room to buy 3 more lip products throughout the year if I want to, but I probably won't even hit the 5. I mean, if I do, totally great, but if not, if I even go under 5 this year, I will be even happier. And then you also probably noticed I didn't purchase any new eyeshadow palettes in quarter 3. I did have the gift with purchase quad, but if you watched my intro video, I was really only including larger palettes in this category, so I think I'd said anything with 5 pans or more would count towards my 5 palette limit. Now, I did opt to receive a custom lethal palette that I built using their palette designer in PR. Normally, I don't count PR towards my purchases that I track because obviously I didn't purchase it myself, but I kind of do want to count this towards my palette purchases though, simply because I actually opted in to get this. I have received a couple of other palettes in PR this year that I haven't counted towards my total, but with this one, I feel like because I had the choice to accept it or not, whereas a lot of the time with PR, I don't really know I'm gonna get it. It just kind of shows up to me. This I did choose to receive, and I also chose every shade to go in it. So if we are counting my lethal palette, then I am up to 3 out of 5 palettes for the year, which I think makes sense. I mean, even whether we count this or not, I don't really see myself going up to 5 palettes for the year. I've kind of not really been interested in very many palettes this year at all. I'm able to talk myself out of palettes so much more easily now, and I do think that's partially because of this cap that I set at the start of the year. Just knowing in the back of my mind that I'm only giving myself permission to buy 5 palettes throughout the year, it's just made me stop and consider palettes and lipsticks before I buy them, and I just really haven't been tempted by many palettes. There's just so few color stories coming out these days that I feel like are gonna add something new to my collection. So that's kind of where I'm at with palettes. I don't even know if I'm gonna hit the 5 palette limit or not. So I hope you enjoyed seeing everything that I purchased in quarter 3. I don't really have any set goals for quarter 4 other than I hope to spend a little bit less in quarter 4 than I did in quarter 3. So hopefully when I come back in my end of the year wrap up, I will have spent less in quarter 4 than quarter 3. Let's hope. Keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully no more tempting sales for me. Also, thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. If you would like to check out that 1-month free trial offer, the link will be down below. But thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And hopefully I will talk to you again very soon in my next video. Bye.